Okay, friends, today we'll be looking at the flow of blood. In the recent lessons, we were talking about the structures that makes up the heart. And we talked about all the structures that makes the heart, like the pericardium, we talked about the myocardium, talked about the endocardium, and the functions that those structures they play in this case. So for today, we're going to talk about how the blood flows throughout the body. And it is both pulmonary circulation and the systemic circulation. But specifically, we'll be talking about the circulation around the heart. How does the blood comes and how does it move out from the heart? So first thing, we are going to talk about the blood that comes from the systemic circulation. So when the blood comes from the systemic circulation, which are the peripheral areas of the body, it is going to come through these two veins, great veins that you are seeing here. And this is the inferior vena cava and this superior vena cava. So this inferior vena cava, it will be draining blood from the lower part of the body. Starting from the central part where the heart is located, from the thoracic cavity going downwards, the peripheral extremities, the blood will be draining from those areas to the heart through the inferior vena cava. Then when you talk about the blood that comes from the upper part of the body, from the side where the heart is found, they will be coming to the heart through the superior vena cava here. So now, let's demonstrate using the arrows about how the blood will be moving. So we're saying that here, we'll have the blood that will be coming from superior part of the body, draining to the right atrium or the heart. Then from the peripheral extremities, from the lower part of the body, the blood will be coming from the body to the heart through the inferior vena cava. So this is inferior vena cava, and this vena cavas, both veins, they are going to empty into the right atrium of the heart. Now, when the right atrium of the heart it is full, there is a sinoatrial node here that is going to stimulate the impulse for the right atrium to eject blood into the right ventricle. So we see that when it is full, it is going to empty its contents, which in this case is the blood, which is deoxygenated, for it has come from the systemic circulation. So the blood is going to be pushed into the right ventricle. The right ventricle, it will get full with blood. It will be filled up with blood that has come from the right atrium. And where will it take its contents to? The blood from the right ventricle, it is going to go into the pulmonary artery. This pulmonary artery is sometimes said to be the pulmonary trunk. So this pulmonary trunk, it is going to transport its blood through the aortic, the pulmonary valves that are shown here. The pulmonary valves, the blood is going to be pushed to go to the lungs for oxygenation. And as this pulmonary trunk leaves the heart, is going to bifurcate into two vessels, which is the right pulmonary trunk and the left pulmonary artery. So this is how blood is going to go to the lungs for oxygenation. When the blood goes to the lungs for oxygenation, it will be taken back to the heart. Now in this case, the oxygenated blood, it is found on the left part of the heart. But the right part of the heart, it all contains deoxygenated blood. And now, how is the mechanism going to happen in this case? We've got four veins which carries oxygenated blood. I guess you all understand that all the veins in the body, they carries deoxygenated blood. But we've got only 4 veins that carries oxygenated blood, which are pulmonary veins. Pulmonary, in this case, we are talking about the lungs. So the veins that comes from the lungs, they carries oxygenated blood. And the arteries which goes to the lungs, they carries deoxygenated blood. But all the arteries in the peripheral extremities, everywhere in the body, they carries oxygenated blood. But when we talk about this, they carry deoxygenated blood. Get that point? So in this case, 2 veins are going to come from one lung, each lung. We have this one. It is going to come from the right lung. And these 2 are going to come from the left lung, emptying their contents into the left atrium. So the left atrium, it is going to get filled with blood that is coming from the lungs, which is oxygenated. And it is going to empty its contents into the left ventricle. Left ventricle, when it gets filled with blood, at the greater pressure, it is going to exert its contents or to eject the blood that is contained into it through the aorta. So as it is shown here, it is an aorta. Through the aortic valve, blood, it is going to be distributed to all the parts, all the blood, because you find that it's from the aorta where the arteries are going to start branching off. We have the first two branches of aorta, which is left and right coronary artery. From there, we're also going to have the arteries here that are going to branch off. This is called the ascending aorta. This part is said an ascending aorta. And this arc that is formed here, it is said an arc of an aorta, and it has three branches. There's a brachiocephalic artery, there's also subclavian artery, there's also left common carotid artery. And this part that is descending down, it is said to be the descending aorta. So the aorta, it has three parts: ascending aorta, an arc of an aorta, and that descending aorta. So now the blood is going to be sent or distributed to all parts of the body. When it circulates, remember circulation in this case is a continuous mechanism. Again, the blood is going to come throughout of the body up to the right atrium. The right atrium to the lungs. From right atrium, right ventricle. Right ventricle to the lungs for oxygenation. Oxygenation, left atrium. Left atrium to the left ventricle. Left ventricle through the aorta to all parts of the body. So the way they does, blood that is going to come, they work in opposite mechanism, so to speak. We can say there's an opposite mechanism. When blood comes from the left ventricle, it goes to all parts of the body. It is going to come to the right atrium. So we see here, this atrium and left ventricle, there's conglomeration or the consanguinity between the two. There's a relationship, so to speak, between these two chambers. And the blood that is going to come from the right ventricle, it is going to be sent to the lungs. Lungs to the left atrium. So we also see that this one and this one, there's a relationship. So the blood from here, it is going to come here. From here to all parts of the body, back to the right atrium of the heart. Friends, this has been for today. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, share, and like the video. Thank you.